Eddie Hearn came in the change room before and said he's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
He's going to give you some rounds to think about. Don't rush in, but that's the way it goes, I guess.
What are the dangers of facing a southpaw in the heavyweight division?
Obviously, your jabs clash a lot because you're both, my jab's here, his jab's here. The backhand is a lot more, comes into play a lot more, and that's obviously your power shot. So you've got to be careful. It's very, very easy to land your backhand. So it's a danger for them, but also a danger for yourself.
How often do you have to spar to be ready for southpaws?
It's more so you do it. I actually sparred a southpaw yesterday for a couple of rounds, but it's more so in your training camp. If you're sparring a southpaw, you want to be sparring. If you're fighting a southpaw, you want to be sparring the southpaws all through your camp for 8 weeks, So
when you're in camp, do you try to get a sparring partner which mimics your opponent?
yeah, as much as you can. It's also good to get people who are going to give you good intense work to get your fitness levels up. But if you're fighting someone who's tall and long, you want to get tall and long sparring in. Someone who's more of a boxer than a fighter, you want to get people with more boxing skills. So you get the correct sparring in because you just get into good habits of preparing for that guy. You need a blueprint, and to work on that blueprint, you need someone who's going to mimic what you're going to get in the fight.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Michael, is it Passenger?
Michael
Reisinger.
From the Czech Republic as well.
Old spelling mistake.
He was a tough man, a proud man, a football hooligan, I think, of some sort in Czech Republic.
Round 2 just starts. Big overhand.
Yeah, I caught him at the end of the first round as well with a right hand as he came in. He used to box on the Czech Republic Muay Thai national team, so proud man. And he was gutted afterwards because he's a proud, tough man. And that was good because that was just after I broke my hand in that fight, on my 5th fight, when it went to points. So it was good to come through that psychologically and get a really crisp, clean knockout.
When you have an injury like break your hand, is it the same when it's repaired and fixed?
It's stronger now. So you see these 2 knuckles, they're a lot bigger, these ones, than them 2. The scar tissue has actually made it more dense and stronger. So you have to look after your hands because they do get damaged, they do break. Yeah. So warming them up before and after, like any muscle, is important. Cryotherapy work on them as well. So you have to look after your hands.
Cryotherapy?
It's a cold treatment, and I can get a spray on it. And that's what I like. Prefer local cryotherapy to the actual chambers. I think an ice bath is better than a chamber.
Really?
And it just penetrates deep below the skin, gets rid of inflammation. So if you've had a hard spar or been hitting the pads very hard, just a little bit of spray on that for 5 minutes will get that inflammation down quicker and allow it to heal quicker. And then the blood, and when it heats up, the blood starts flushing through a lot quicker as well. So there's all little tricks of the trade that you need to know, and warming up properly and wearing the correct protection, putting sponges on your hand, wrapping them up, using tape, that's all important as well.
Johnny, how hard do you hit?
Hard. Very hard. One thing I know is I can punch very, very hard. And it's exciting for people to watch. When I punch people and I know they're gone, it's more of like it's not like they go to sleep power, it's more like it just rattles their brain. That's what I can see. Without sounding too graphic, there's different types. Deontay Wilder is the sniper, put you to sleep power. Yeah. Joshua's sort of got that, but he's got unbelievable power in other ways, rattling people's brains. Dubois, I think, has got that ability to sleep people, but I've got that one where it's like imagine like a glass and it's full of like marbles inside of it, and I'm just smashing it, and people's brain is rattling inside. It's thumping power, I think. Joe Joyce is similar. He's got that thumping power, and you can bamboozle people like that. I remember, obviously, when I fought Alan Babbage recently, the first 1-2, it rattled him because his legs went a bit funny, and then when I followed it up with the 8-punch combination, it was more of a rattle, and it put his legs all over the place, and that's to do with where you hit people as well. I like to try and hit people on the temple because it rattles your brain a little bit more. As barbaric as this sounds, this is the sport we're in, and you hit someone on the temple, it frazzles the brain more than if you hit them anywhere else. Obviously, you want to hit the chin as well. That can knock people out. The nose as well is important to bludgeon that because it will affect their breathing a little bit, and it's very graphic when you think about it. But this is the sport we're in, and they're going to try and do it to me as well.
How ethical is boxing? Because some people are still out there going, how can 2 men or women be beating each other like senselessly, and this is all legal sort of thing?
We've seen in the news this week people stabbing each other to death. I remember I just saw in Southend, which is 25 minutes from us, two young men holding massive ninja swords, scimitars, just holding them and slashing people to death. And there is a lack of law and order in this country right now. And the one thing I know from a boxing gym is all people from all walks of life, all backgrounds can walk into a gym, and there's an instant authority with the coaches and training team. And the struggle that you go through training, sparring together, it builds a camaraderie that transcends all barriers. And we need boxing back in schools 100%, because people are always going to be drawn to violence, the nature of how human beings are. Since the dawn of time, since the ancient Greeks, people saw gladiators fighting. Boxing was one of the Olympic sports back in the day, even then. And it's about bringing that under control, regulating it, because young boys in particular, they're always going to be drawn to violence and fighting. It's the nature of how humans are built. And if we can control that in a controlled environment with a sport like boxing, which teaches respect, which teaches integrity, it humbles you because you fight people better than you, people who've got more power than you, and it teaches you respect because you know your limits and you know other people's limits. And it needs to be brought back into schools because it brings it's ethical in that sense, because it's a lesser of two evils in the way that, would you rather your son or your daughter on the streets, hanging on street corners with the risk of knives, or would you want them to be in an environment where they're learning to be fit, to have respect for other people and mental discipline as well? There's a lot of organisations that have been around, Box Up Crime, Gloves Up, Knives Down, and I know how I was speaking there about ways you aim for people's heads and things like that. That's if you're a professional sportsman and you're doing this for money and you're in combat and you want to do this as a profession. But there's other things you can do. I went to university in Exeter and we done boxing classes for 400 or 500 people. We started off with about 50 members and we grew it to 500 members with the help of my friends Nicholas Eaton, who run the captaincy of the club. Great guy. And it's not just about sparring and hitting each other. It's about the fitness of it and the team spirit that you build and getting people into fitness and sports in whatever way, whether that's boxing, whether that's netball, football, hockey. Boxing's another sport that needs to be embraced because it's not just about contact, it's not just about sparring. It teaches good values and good respect, you know?
I mean, like COVID really affected a lot of people just being at home, looking at four walls or, you know, I don't know, like you're quite present because you're still young, you're 25. But I see a lot of like between 20 to 25-year-olds that look quite blank and robotic.
Yeah.
Like, how are you? Yes, I'm fine. Like, it just feels like they've lost that social.
Yeah, let's have it right. Locking people up for 2 years is not healthy. It wasn't healthy or whatever we done. I know people were dying and it was terrible, but it seems that we created a larger problem with lockdown as well. Mm-hmm. And there's things that perhaps the first lockdown was warranted. We didn't know what was going on, but there were severe social elements of life that, as you said, there's kids who've grown up who have missed out, especially I feel sorry for them, the 17, 18-year-olds who missed out on their development years as a young adult. Yeah. My brothers are two of them. It did some bad things, you know, and people turn to alcohol, they've got nothing else to do staring at four walls all day.
So let's go on to the next fight I want to speak about, Alvaro Terrero.
My first one at the O2.
Yeah. What's it like fighting in the O2?
It's amazing. It's my favourite one.
Yeah.
Favourite venue. It's like
I thought it was a copper box.
I like the copper box as well, but fighting at the O2, it's just the space. I know it sounds weird, but the space and how people are all on top of you, it's such a great arena. It's brilliant. And the first time I fought there at the O2, only had 2,000. Well, I had sold 2,000 tickets. It was great. Dillian White was meant to fight Otto Wallen, but pulled out with an injury. Yeah. And so it was just they kept the show on because I sold a lot of tickets, and it was great. Everyone was there for me. But when you say 2,000 people and you've never fought in front of 2,000 people before, you thought it'd be one little section, but the whole bowl around the bottom was full of my supporters, and it was unbelievable to have support from people from all over the country. And that was amazing.
How is that different? In terms of walking into your local gym, your bag over your shoulder, put it down. All right, guys, how you doing? Right, go down through your circuit training, do your sparring, bosh, you know, like, and then like, you know, that was a good day, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. To all of a sudden, you're all dressed up in your robe, you're in a dressing room, and you're going for that ring walk. You can see all of these, the whole curtains go dark. You see all these little lights everywhere. You see all these fans screaming. What is that experience like, Johnny?
It's a huge amount of pressure when you first do it. Now I do it and I'm used to it, but it's an unbelievable experience. It's exhilarating, but controlling that nerve and that that pumped up feeling. That's the hard part. But I've done it in front of a crowd now 8 times, so you get used to it over time. But it's very hard to control your nervous energy, you know.
Because sometimes when you're so tense like that,
You're not loose. You can't be fluid. You can't throw your jab properly. You can't throw your right hands
it feels
properly.
like you're not even hitting them.
Everything's stiff. Everything's hard to manage, and it uses your energy up quicker. So dealing with the pressure of